Sangria, the nectar of the gods. Hey there, moviegoers. This weekend I had the opportunity to see the latest film from Marvel, The Amazing Spiderman 2. This film, which picks up roughly where its 2012 predecessor left off, is a thrill ride of adventure, plot twists, a love story, and an ongoing search for our hero into his past and why his parents may or may not have abandoned him. The acting in particular in this particular installment was pretty strong, from Andrew Garfield, Sally Field, and Emma Stone. Jamie Foxx gets an honorable mention for bringing enough depth to a character that was written pretty two-dimensionally. With that said, other positives that happened in this film were the soundtrack and the special effects. Whoever was in charge of making those effects did an outstanding job. Was really able to make a three-dimensional world with nothing more than just a green screen and some actors running across it. Unfortunately, these strong points often feel like they are overcompensating for an unclear plotline that has three major villains, along with a love story that seems to be on again, off again unnecessarily, and an ongoing search by Peter Parker into his past that doesn't actually play into the overarching theme and storyline of this particular installment. By the end of the film, you walk out asking for another installment, which is good. That's the point of another film. However, as an audience member, you would be hard-pressed to succinctly describe what the main plot was, who the main protagonist was, what was the solution, what was the major battle points, and all in all, what was the point of this movie? For these reasons, I believe that the screenwriters did not do a good enough job to make sure that this installment could stand the test of time and be viewed and enjoyed independent of its predecessor and its potential sequel. With that said, is it really necessary for a film in this day and age to really conform to that type of orthodox thinking when it comes to movie making? At a time where the actors, writers, directors, and oftentimes the audience members know that there's going to be another film in this franchise, is it really necessary to make a movie that can stand alone between its predecessor or its sequel? Are we not just turning feature films into elongated versions of a TV show, demanding that the plot continue past just one particular installment? Are we not just having feature films be a grandiose version of a TV show, wherein we are demanding better effects, potentially a better plot line, better acting, better soundtrack, but at the end of the day, we're just looking for one installment since we know there will be additional films to follow? I ask these questions because with or without our knowledge, our expectations as audience members has evolved more in the past few years than it has over the entire history of film, spanning over 124 years. For the most part, this is a good thing. It allows this art to evolve and grow into this mega industry, allowing us to explore new depths and go even bigger than we have in the past. On the other hand, it also means that we have reevaluated what we look for when we go for a movie fix. What once would have been called a disjointed film based on too many villains and not a clear plotline can now be marketed and hailed a great summer movie. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is also a good thing. Seeing The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which honestly was very entertaining, and if you haven't seen it yet, I say go see it and form your own opinion. But at the same time, after seeing it, it reinforced why I wanted to do this project. I want to explore film, going back to the basics and understanding what was our standard, what are we supposed to be holding everything accountable to, what do we look at and say, this right here is the pinnacle of what we look for when we are looking for a film to watch. Is it the plot? Is it the costumes? Is it the special effects? Is it the acting? Is it everything? What is it about these movies on this particular list? And this particular list is the AFI Top 100. What is it about this list that really draws people to these films? Furthermore, are we continuing to build an expectation that should be met by our current films, saying if this is the pinnacle, this is what we want, this is what movies are made for? Shouldn't every film then try to strive for at least some of that? And if it isn't, then what's the point of even having this list? What's the point of having awards? What's the point of even evaluating films in general? If you're just going for the wow factor and the excitement factor, what's the point of it all? Why do I pay $8.50 for a matinee, non-3D, for a ticket to go see something if I'm not going to change at the end of it, if it's not going to have some kind of impact? While The Amazing Spider-Man 2 will not stand independent of the other films in its series, it will still be a notable movie. It was a superhero movie made in the time where we were in love as a society with heroes. We wanted to extol the virtues of our heroes, but also put them through horribly painful situations and live vicariously through that. We don't necessarily want to go through that ourselves, hell no. But we do want to see someone else struggle and go through that and know that they will come out on the other side. They will succeed. While this film may not be able to stand on its own without being viewed with the movie before it or potentially the movie after it, it's still enjoyable. It's still entertaining. And it brought me back to the point of this entire project, for me to understand the movie's past so I can better appreciate and understand and critique my movie present. I hope you all have a great week. Tune in tomorrow, where I will be talking about Ben-Hur, movie number 100 on the AFI list. And, of course, as always, I hope to see you at the movies.